Alright, this is note 9-3. Okay, equations containing rational exponents, super simple stuff. As you see on number 1 here, it has x raised to the 4/3 power equals 16. So we're solving for x on it. Now, to get rid of any fractions, we've learned throughout the year, you can always multiply by the reciprocal and they will cancel out. For example, if I had that 4/3 that's written there, and it was over here as just a regular fraction, I'm going to write it at the top. So 4/3, to get rid of 4/3, I would multiply by 3/4, and then those two would cross out. Okay, when they cross out on cross multiplication, obviously that equals just 1, or nothing's there. So it'll just be like 1x or just x in this case. So if it's raised to the 4/3 power, in order to get rid of that, I would take the whole thing and raise it to the 3/4 power. Just like with anything in math, whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you've got to do to the other. So I would have to take 16 and raise it to the 3/4 power as well. Now, just like I did in my example, these guys would cross out, and that would leave me x equals whatever 16 to the 3/4 power is. We take our handy dandy calculator, we're going to type it in, 16, and it's going to be raised to the alpha y equals, and we're doing 3/4 power, and hit enter, and it gives us 8. So x equals 8. Now, as it says up here, we need to check for extraneous solutions. What that means is sometimes it'll give us an answer that doesn't actually work. So we have to go back and recheck, meaning we take this x is 8, plug it in for x, raise it to the original 4/3 power, and see if that equals 16. So here I go, I'm going to take it, put it in for x, raise it to the 4/3 power, and we want it to equal 16. So let's see if it does. So we have 8 raised to the 4/3 power, and get off from under there, enter, and sure enough it does equal 16. 16 does equal 16, so the solution was 8. Okay, taking a look at the next one, just like when we're solving any equations, we have to go step by step. This is a two-step equation. It's having 6 added to it, so we have to take that 6 across, because we're solving for x. When it crosses the bridge, it changes signs. So I have 3x to the 1/2 power, equals -6. Okay, so if it's 3x to the 1/2 power, the reciprocal of that would be 2/1. So I'm going to take that 3x to the 1/2 power, and I'm going to raise it to 2/1. If I do that to that side, I have to do it to the other. Raise it to 2/1 power, or just 2. We know that. These guys cancel off. That leaves me 3x equals, and we have -6 raised to the 2/1 power, which we know is just 2. Hit enter, and it says x, so it says 36. So I have 3x equals 36. Now we're solving for x, so in order to get rid of that 3, it's being multiplied, I have to divide by 3. X equals 36 divided by 3 is 12. We're going to check it now. So I'm going to take it, plug it back into the original equation, add 6 to it, and see if it equals 0. Okay, so my original equation, that'd be 3, and then times x, which we know 3 times x is 36, raised to the 1/2 power, and if we added 6 to it, we want it to equal 0. So we take and we go 36 raised to the 1/2 power, alright, and then we move out from under there, add 6, and we hope it equals 0 and hit enter, but it doesn't. It equals 12. So 12 does not equal 0. So this one here would be no solution. So whenever I plug it back into the original, if it does not work to fit the original, which says it should equal 0, and then the top one it said it should equal 16, then it does not work. It's no solution. Okay, flip it. Alright, we got multiple things going on this one. This guy here. Alright, first thing we have to get rid of is the plus 1. So I move that plus 1 across. It becomes a minus 1. So I have negative 3 times 2x minus 1, all raised to the 3/2 power, equals negative 23 minus 1 is negative 24. Okay, now to get rid of this, now we got to continue to get rid of this. We're trying to get to just x. I've got to get rid of this negative 3. It's being multiplied right now, so I divide everything by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. That cancels off. 2x minus 1, which is being raised to the 3/2 power, equals 8. Okay, so same deal. To get rid of the 3/2 power, I have to multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to raise the whole thing to the 2/3 power. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. They cross out. So 2x minus 1 equals 8 to the 2/3 power. So I have parentheses 8 raised to the 2/3 power. 2 over 3. And that gives me 4. Okay. Now we're solving. Move the negative 1 across, becomes a plus 1. So I've got 2x equals 4 plus 1 is 5. Okay, now we're going to divide by 2. Divide by 2. And x equals 5/2. You can make it 2.5 if you want, but let's just leave it a fraction. 5/2 is just fine. We're going to take that and we've got to plug it back in and see if it comes out to negative 23, which is our original. So here I am plugging it back into the original. Negative 3, 2x, so that's 2 times our x, which is 5/2. We have to put it in parentheses because we wanted to know that it's times 5 divided by 2, right? 5/2. Okay, minus 1, we're just continuing on. Minus 1, close it, raise to the 3/2 power, plus 1, we want it to equal negative 23. Okay, so all I did was I took my original equation, put in my x, what we found for x. We're going to put this part only into our calculator, hit enter, and hopefully it'll equal that. Let's try. So we go negative 3, parentheses, 2, okay, parentheses, fraction, we've got 5 over 2, close it, minus 1, close it all, raised to the 3/2 power, get out from under it, add 1, hit enter, and hope it equals negative 23. Let's see. And it does. So negative 23 equals negative 23. So my answer was 5/2. Okay, that is my x value. My solution is my x value. X equals 5/2. Okay, let's try the last one. Okay, same deal. X to the 2/3 plus 11 equals 27. First thing I have to do is get rid of the plus 11. So it becomes a minus 11. So x to the 2/3 power equals 27 minus 11 is 16. Okay. Now on this guy, to get rid of 2/3, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, which is raise it to 3/2. Same deal here. 3/2. Alright, they cross out. X equals whatever 16 to the 3/2 power is. So we have 16 raised to the 3/2 power. And that says 64. So x equals 64. So let's go and check this guy now. Alright, so I'm going to plug it back in for my original equation. So 64 is my x, raised to the 2/3 power, and we're going to add 11, and we're going to hope it equals 27. So here we go. 64 2/3 power, add 11, and we hit enter, and sure enough it does equal 27. So x equals 64 is my answer. For your assignment, you're going to do A9-3. You're going to do numbers 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, and 9. This assignment is due first thing tomorrow. This concludes notes for 9-3.